The beginning, adult victims of child abuse. Like I said, name your abusers, and I'm going to name them. Dolores Bowles, my mother. Vernon Bowles, my stepfather. She worked in the National Archives, and he worked in the Census Bureau. Thelma Petty, she worked for Federal Trade Commission. She was the one that let her friends rape me and let her husband drug me and rape me. Okay? Michael Harrison, a cousin 10 years older than me, who tried to molest me in 2001 in front of my child. My daughter says, "Mommy, what was he doing?" She asked him that. He said, "Oh, it's just a shoe." She said, "What was a shoe doing sticking out of his pants? Someone should have cut it off." David Gray, an ex-husband who was military and then became a police officer, 6'4", height and built. I was 5'4", and he beat me so bad he almost broke my neck. One day he threatened to hit me in front of one of his sergeants, and I swear that was one of the happiest moments, because the sergeant told him, "If you hit her, I will whoop your ass." And I've never heard another man stand up to another man in all my 40-some-odd years of living. That might be the only gentleman left on the face of this earth. Yes, he was a very dangerous man. Larry, can't remember his name. These types of people will prey on the abused. They will prey on them mentally and emotionally and physically, and they will lie and lie to cover up who they really are and what they have done to you and your child, or what they've tried to do to your child. There are so many of them. My cousin, who's older than me, female, Jacqueline Smith, who sexually abused me when I was just a little thing, and told me if I told on her, she would beat me up, so I never told. She's the same one that, as a little girl, she hung me over the banister upstairs by my ankles like I was a filthy animal. I was frightened to death. The mother, Dolores Bowles, who tried to drown me when I was in kindergarten, that was horrible. The man she married that would just beat us until we bled, till our ankles were sprained, black eyes, scars on our bodies, pieces of our bodies chipped off, scars that are left on our bodies until this very day. I had a half-brother, but he's lived with them all the way through his adulthood. So he probably, maybe doesn't remember, or maybe hopefully he's not like some type of serial killer. Zach, a counselor, just some very filthy people. And I have to say, and forewarn, if you have been an adult victim of child abuse and you're very sensitive, you have to be very cautious with people you deal with in the workforce, in any type of business, who you rent from, any agencies you may need help from, because these people can, they can kind of smell you out. They're like dogs. Dogs smell fear and they attack. And those type of people are worse than dogs. They can smell that a person is very sensitive and has been harmed and hurt. And they will attack with harassment and all kinds of stuff, especially if they see a jealousy. Well, they experience a jealousy and that person has some type of gifts. They see the person is, fairly nice looking, and they can't understand why does that person look so nice? Why does that person speak so well? How did they get through college? It becomes a jealousy factor. Not only that, it's a spiritual issue too. Because when you have parents and family members that are that sick, believe me, I have to say this, the devil is involved. That means that there has been something sent out from an evil force to destroy that child's life. And I have to shout out to the friends I've made growing up when I was little that were going through the same things that I went through and worse. A lot of them are dead. Some of them have committed suicide. And I cry for them, and I just hope they are in a much better place and that their perpetrators don't die quick, but that someone beats their ass and makes them suffer until their dying day, unless they become saved and totally changed, of course. But this is just a warning. People can tell when you're sensitive. People can tell when you have been harmed. Even if you don't tell them, they sense it. Landlords, you've got to be careful of them. People, wherever you work, you've got to be careful of them because they will take advantage. I grew up thinking that I had no right to fight back when someone did me wrong. As an adult, I would say, have nightmares of being beaten by both my mother and stepfather. I would still have nightmares, actually, of them trying to stab me with a knife, and I, as an adult in a dream, couldn't fight them off. So I still have issues with trying to, fight back when people try to take advantage and pull, the little tricks or whatever. But I think I'm getting the hint now. I'm starting to bite back a little more since, we've been in D.C. for a little bit now. We've lived in D.C. for, 2 years. Also, you take these people to court that try these things because you've been abused, severely abused by family members, plural. They're all going to eventually band together with their lies. And they will slander your name greatly to cover up and hide what they did to you. And these people usually are, I'm not going to say all the time. In my case, the family members were professional people. My mother, like I said, she was an LPN, and she went to work for a microfilm room in the National Archives. Thelma Petty, the aunt. She worked for the Federal Trade Commission, and people just thought she was the bomb, and she was nothing but scum. Michael Harrison, he was nothing but scum. These people are sick. Jacqueline Smith, who once lived in D.C., she grew up in D.C., now lives in North Carolina. She has MS now, and her feet are all curled up and twisted. She would never be able to get a boyfriend. The way my aunt told me how she did as a young person, that I was ugly. I had overly big lips, she would say, and a hump in my nose, and I'd be lucky if I could get a man. Well, she can't get one now. And Jacqueline Smith can't get one. Michael Harrison, maybe he can get a woman, but I doubt, there's no telling what kind of woman she is.